NIH Other Support Changes. Other support includes all resources made available to researchers or senior key personnel in support of and/or related to all of their research endeavors, regardless of whether or not they have monetary value and regardless of whether they are based at the institution the researcher identifies for the current grant. Please note, other support does not include training awards, prizes, gifts, or startup support provided to the individual by the applicant organization. In summary, the changes took effect January 25, 2022. If you have a foreign appointment and/or employment, documentation is required. Additional sections added to the other support that will be discussed more thoroughly in the upcoming slides includes resources under financial support, consulting, and in-kind. The proposal summary approval web form has been updated to include a statement for certification of NIH proposals. And finally, we'll review examples of the new format. Resources and/or financial support from all foreign and domestic entities that are available to the researcher must be disclosed in the other support. This includes, but is not limited to, financial support for laboratory personnel, provision of high-value materials that are not freely available, such as biologics, chemicals, model systems, technology, etc. Institutional resources such as core facilities or shared equipment that are made broadly available should not be included in other support, but rather listed under the Facilities and Other Resources section of the proposal. Consulting agreements when the PD or PI or other senior key personnel will be conducting research as part of the consulting activities must be disclosed in the other support. Non-research consulting activities are not other support. In-kind contributions such as office, laboratory space, equipment, supplies, or employees or students supported by an outside source must be disclosed in the other support. If the time commitment or dollar value of the in-kind contribution is not readily ascertainable, the recipient must provide reasonable estimates. More specifically, in-kind contributions that are intended for use on the project being proposed must be included as part of the Facilities and Other Resources or Equipment section of the application and not on the other support. However, in-kind contributions that are not intended for the project being proposed must be disclosed in the other support. If the time commitment or dollar value is not readily ascertainable, reasonable estimates should be provided. Supporting documentation, which includes copies of contracts agreements specific to senior key personnel foreign appointments and/or employment with a foreign institution for all foreign activities and resources that are reported on other support, must be provided. If the contracts agreements are not in English, recipients must provide translated copies. Other support does not include training awards, prizes, or gifts, or as previously mentioned, startup funds provided by the institution. Gifts are resources provided where there is no expectation of anything in return, such as time, services, specific research activities, money, etc. An item or service given with the expectation of an associated time commitment is not a gift and is instead an in-kind contribution and must be reported as such. An additional certification has been added to the proposal approval summary web form. This certifies that you provide any supporting documentation that may be required and that the statements are true, complete, and accurate. While it was initially set up for NIH direct or flow-through proposals, it will be applied to all proposals when approving the form. Some of the major format changes includes adding the primary place of performance and including the total award amount, specifically total award costs for the period of performance, including indirect costs. In the previous other support format, we were only required to disclose the direct costs for the current budget period. Other changes include person months, in which we provide the level of actual effort for the current budget period and indicate the proposed level of effort for each remaining budget period. This was not required in the previous other support format. Finally, each PD, PI, or other senior key personnel must electronically sign their respective other support prior to submission. The signature states that the statements are true, complete, and accurate. For subawards or multi-project awards, when providing the other support, please indicate the project number, name of PDPI, and source of support for the overall project. All the other information would be specific to the sub-project only. Recipients and applicants may use the electronic signature software of their choice and in alignment with their institutional practices. A typed name is not an electronic signature and is not acceptable. For just-in-time requests, other support should be submitted for all individuals designated in an application as senior key personnel except program directors, training faculty, and other individuals involved in the oversight of training grants, or individuals categorized as other significant contributors. For our PPRs, other support should be submitted for all senior key personnel, excluding consultants, where there has been a change in active other support, or if a new senior key personnel has been added to the project, except for program directors, training faculty, and other individuals involved in the oversight of training grants. Special instructions for Joint University and Department of Veteran Affairs appointments is indicated below. The next few slides are going to show the new sample format of other support. This section is the project proposal section and includes the active awards as displayed below, the pending awards as displayed below, and the consulting and resources section as shown below. If consulting and/or resources and financial support are not applicable, please state none in this section. The next section of the other support is the in-kind section. If there is anything to be reported, it should be reported in the format below. Again, if there are none, please simply state none. Finally, the last section of the other support includes the overlap statement and the signature. For additional resources, you can find information on the Research Office webpage or on the NIH webpage as listed here. If you have any other questions or concerns, you can contact your C&G in the Research Office or your respective grants analyst for assistance. Thank you.